Congratulations on your ASC Award nomination for George and Tammy.
Thank you. It's really an honor to be nominated with all people I respect, and also from the peers. It's a great honor.
Absolutely. So I'd love to begin by talking about your journey with this show. You shot the whole thing. How did you come on to the series, and what drew you to this? How did you work to create the visual style?
Yeah, so John Hillcoat, who was director of all the episodes of the George and Tammy, you know, I think he saw something I've done before, and he invited me to the show. And it was great to work with a single director on 6 episodes. It was great to actually have it. We shot it in blocks, and it was we basically developed a visual style based on the narrative, as always, kind of trying to figure out what is the story about, what is the what are we whose perspective are we taking. And we realized that this is a story about 2 lost souls, basically, that were that had a hard time living with each other, and even a harder time living with themselves and their own demons. So the approach was based on a subjective perspective, meaning we always try to see things through characters' eyes, how they feel at that moment, and then trying to create visuals that reflect their state of mind. So we assembled a fair amount of reference photographs, reference paintings, and they would range from just visual references, but also there would also be like things about like dynamic between the 2 of them, like some of those references were about the South, there where everything happens in the story in the 70s, 60s, 70s, beginning of 80s. So a lot of those references were about the dominance, about how do you visually represent the dominance, because it was a struggle between the two extremely creative people that were trying to basically find a balance between the personal and the public. So yeah, the references were visual, but also thematic. Like there was a theme in references. John Hillcoat started with like over like 3,000 references, and then
Wow.
and then I had to kind of distill that into groups, and I also had, like, I mean, he has an image bank that I've never seen anything like that before. It's like a library, like literally like a library. And I have my own image bank that I've been collecting for last, like, I would say 12 years now. And so we were pulling from each other's reference books. But at the end, it was all about trying to figure out, how to represent the state of mind of the characters. I think that was the key.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. In the end, it has to come back to character and storytelling. This this reference book that you've been creating the last 12 years, is it mostly film stills? Is it paintings? Like, what kind of stuff are you being inspired by?
Everything. I mean, everything that kind of like spikes my curiosity or attention. So it's like sometimes they're photographs of sculptures, sometimes they're photographs of a famous photographer. A lot of times, actually, not. I follow some website and Instagram accounts with young photographers, with also like so. It's paintings as well. So anything that I find interesting, I just put it into this image bank, and then I cataloged it through either themes, sometimes visual themes, sometimes is themes that are, like one of the groups is like uncanny, and like, so it's like there's so many different groups I put them in. But it helps me to kind of it kind of inspires you. None of it is there to be recreated. It's more just to kind of inspire you to to go a certain direction.
Right.
Sometimes it's lighting, sometimes it's framing. Um, yeah, it's different things.
Yeah, just a touch point to jump off from. Uh,
Exactly.
yeah, well, I'd love to talk specifically about this nominated episode, which I believe is the second episode, Stand By Your Man. What
Yes.
is special about that episode to you? What's, maybe a technical challenge or a scene that you're just very pleased with how you were able to portray the story?
I mean, it's basically this entire series is about public life and private life, and how one influenced another. So
Hmm.
how the private life influenced the music, and and um, and um, and this second episode was specifically challenging. It wasn't challenging for me. It was challenging situations they were in. George and Tammy were in, and they are going through some really huge emotional turmoil. So the idea was that sometimes, you would actually go with their public life and present that with like lots of gloss, lots of backlight, lots of things that are just uh, representing that um, they're represented uh, they're public personas, and
Hmm.
then the private part is much more quieter and much more still, and lighting was simplified. It was just like stripped down to like uh, uh, basic one or two light sources for the scenes, and the tension was actually in the stillness. A lot of the scenes in these episodes are actually still, um, to contrast the dynamism of their first meeting and first performances together. When they hit the wall, basically we added more grain. Camera was still, the colors were muted, desaturated, contrary to the beginning, where everything was going well. There were like lots of primary colors present and so on.
Hmm.
So we basically muddied the image, literally muddied the image to make it less contrasty, less appealing. So the
Right.
point was basically have to create like a functional image that represents the state of mind they're in.
Right. Yeah, that's super interesting the way that the image is kind of highlighting an internal state.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because for me, I think the point is not to make beautiful images.
Mhm.
I think that concept is so. I think we passed that as cinematographers, like because anyone can create a beautiful image. That's not the point any longer. So like the point is like how does the image represent the state of mind? And it's like, and it's not necessarily beautiful image. Sometimes it really
Mhm.
has to be like muddy and dark and with no contrast, with just like it just. Uh, I don't think it's there is a point of pushing for like beauty
Right.
when characters are in turmoil. Like that for me it doesn't work.
Well, what's it like to be nominated for an ASC award?
I mean, it's great. It's fantastic. I mean, it's like the ASC Award is something that I care the most of all the awards. I think it's something that when you get nominated by people that are cinematographers and they're you're in the same field, they understand the difficulties of the process, and they also understand what uh, uh, what one does. And contrary to other awards, where you have a lot of times it's about the show itself,
Yeah.
how well the show was received, how people like the show, and so on. So it's a little bit more of like a popularity thing. And the
Hmm.
ASC, I feel like it's all about like being recognized by your peers, and it's fantastic. I mean, it's really great.